You're on. Probably turn on the mic.
And then be quiet.
Yeah, they're on. Okay. You guys are live.
Yep. This is a meeting of the Groveland Conservation Commission for Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
Move to open at 7:08.
Second,
Second.
roll call. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
He's having trouble.
No, I got you now. If you can you hear me?
Do we have anybody else on, no, just Bill?
Yeah.
Do we send Fred the, okay, all right.
So Formosi abstains?
Yeah. Okay, so we have a lot of things on the agenda tonight. And we may not follow the exact position of the items on the agenda as submitted, but we'll do our best to get through it. So we are going to start with the hearings. We've got 1, 2, 3 hearings tonight. And so I'll make a motion to open the hearing portion of the meeting at 7:10 PM.
Second.
Okay. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Bill?
Aye.
Still not? Okay.
Yep.
All right. The first hearing is for 4 Katy Lane.
Here we
Lot
go.
9 of 106.
I don't think we're going to have
King
a
Street.
I'm
quorum.
going to recuse
No,
myself.
we have a quorum. The quorum is only for the meeting.
Okay.
So, recusing.
And this is a request for determination of applicability, Groveland RDA combination for grading and septic system for a new single-family home. Is that what's displayed on the screen?
No, this is not, this is for the school. You have large-scale paper plans in front of you.
Open one of these.
Yeah. Which one is this one?
But can we get it displayed for Bill to see it?
He has it electronically.
Okay.
I sent out the meeting packet, and he has it electronically.
Okay, I didn't get one.
It might have been the email bounce back that was an issue, and I need to look into that, because
Because nobody else is telling me that they're having bounce back issues with me. Yeah. All right. All right, so this is,
This is for
Lot 9. Okay.
Lot 9.
I'm filling in for Bill a little bit tonight. I'll let you guys, do you want to go through that a little bit?
Sure.
Give you time to just
Oh,
look at it, or I can start.
yeah, give us a minute. Buffer right here.
this whole thing.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Do we need highlighters?
Wouldn't hurt.
Do we have highlighters in the office?
So that's 100. So the house is corner.
Do I have highlighters? I have a pink one.
So there's two.
You're amazing. Thank you.
There's this one, and there's this one.
So this one is the 100.
And then there's another one.
And there's this one, 100. Okay.
All right. So the only thing in there is the house. The septic system is outside.
What's this?
Uh,
Oh, it's this. Is that?
yeah. That's just the label for it.
Okay.
Do they put the marker locations on here? We'll ask.
Stone bed, C. What's this? So it's just right on the edge. And then the corner of this house.
Yeah, right. That qualifies for RDA.
Okay.
Go
ahead. Damon Burt, speaking for King Meadow Farm Development here. They had a definitive subdivision that was approved last year in front of the planning board, so this is obviously part of that. They have order of conditions also by the commission previously for the roadway, utilities, drainage, and all the grading in the resource area before. I did the wetland delineation. That was approved, reviewed by Mark Jacobs and DEP. So that was all taken care of. So we have all the wetland delineation, the resource area is all defined as part of the project. We've been doing MPDS stormwater inspections out there, and the engineer also has been doing inspections on the subdivision as part of the project. So for Lot 9, we got a summary. There's a 4-bedroom home with the utilities and driveway, septic and drainage that you see there on the plan. We've marked the wetlands, the 100-foot buffer, and you've highlighted what the 100-foot buffer in pink there. We have the 75-foot no build, and the 25-foot no disturbance zones on the plans. So the setbacks, I don't know if you have any questions on that, but the house is 135 feet to bordering vegetated wetlands. Driveway is 140. Septic is 130. And the reserve is 110. So all those are well outside the 100-foot. There is grading in the buffer. So that's 75 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland. You see that? So that's 950 square feet. Existing and proposed tree line are in that area. Erosion controls are in place there. They're proposing 3 conservation monuments right down in that zone. And I don't know, Annie, are you going to pull up the plan on that?
I don't know if it'll let me.
Oh, okay. Well, the commission has the plan. So he's proposing 3 monuments.
I need to share my screen.
Why are they way
I'll do that. Just continue. This is gonna take a
Here,
while.
here, here.
down? There's nothing.
This is just a buffer to the well, it says. I think this is 175.
Oh, yeah.
confusing language.
Yes. Whole thing is confusing.
And, you know, the monuments, we can adapt later on with the commission's, you know, insight on some of those as it gets constructed. But those are where it's
Yeah, right.
currently proposed.
They're on the 100-foot buffer, so that's a good thing.
Where's the erosion control? ¿Dónde está? Is that this?
Oh, erosion controls on this plan?
That's building setback.
Yeah, I think that would be on the erosion and sediment control plans. I don't know that it's highlighted. You guys see that, Kevin, is that?
Straw wattles.
Oh, that.
Straw bale silt fence.
Oh, yeah, no, proposed erosion control.
Is that this whole thing here?
Pull up the right one.
Too much.
I know, is that on purpose?
No, I'm trying to save money.
Oh, yeah.
That's going right around it.
I feel like it
All the
might
way
be
back
this
up
whole
to behind
thing.
the page.
Yeah, the erosion control is all the way down. Thanks, Kevin. The bottom. Basically at the tree line.
It's this whole thing that kind of looks like this whole thing?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Somewhere that, I didn't see the label myself earlier,
Okay. Maybe that can be
but
blue.
a lot of notes.
Okay. Okay. You have thoughts? What about is this the one that has the grading? No. Stone bed inspection board.
So you see the monuments in red? You're okay with those locations?
Yep.
Any other thoughts?
Really. All if we said anything different last time.
So that's the majority of it for that lot. So this should be the grading in the buffer. 950 square feet.
What do you think about that? Grading in the buffer.
950 square feet.
Yeah. Where does it explain that part? Can you explain that to me, the grading in the buffer zone?
Yeah, we can,
That there's much grading in the buffer zone. The only thing in the buffer zone is right there.
right there, yeah, that right.
Around the drain mitigation basin, is that where you're?
No, it's right inside the monuments. If you look at the monument in the middle,
Uh-huh,
that 176 gets moved forward
A little bit.
a little bit, but it's just touching the 100-foot
oh,
line.
it's just barely there, okay.
Any down here?
That's all
okay.
done.
Oh, that's all
It's all
done.
done.
That's just this edge right here.
Yeah, it's very little. I'm not.
Okay.
It's not,
What does he tell you then? Where he's getting that from?
Do you have anything to think about that?
This was all done on the.
So I guess, is he including all that was done before also? Around
I'm
the,
assuming, because even if you.
you'd have to be. I think the majority of it's already been done with stormwater and roadway.
Yeah, okay,
So I think that's the number. So our number is like very, very small,
okay,
almost negligible, but
Okay.
it's there. So I think that's why he brought it up.
okay. Do you have anything to add, Annie?
No, it's very minor.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be some, part of the reason I requested that they file a request for determination of applicability was because obviously with the grade in, there's going to be some construction vehicles that will be pushed a little further in, but I agree, it's incredibly minor.
And the erosion control's already in place because of that work that's
Yes.
been done.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And it says on the plan that the erosion controls are marked properly, unlike the last time.
He's referring to, in the last two applications, it mentioned hay bales instead
Oh.
of straw bales.
Okay.
Is that
These are
corrected?
straw wattles and straw bales, I think it says.
Should be. I saw the note on Kevin's, the bigger sheet is easier to read than.
Yeah.
I have 11 by 17 up here. Let's just confirm that,
Do you want to borrow one of these over here?
where's looking for that, erosion control note? Let's see.
So this erosion control right here is already in place.
Yeah.
This is not yet.
Near
the
marker
label?
176.
I don't see it labeled. I think he had hay bales in before, maybe that's selected.
It says straw bales and silt fence or straw wattle
Yeah, it says.
on this.
So we'll mark out the hay bales, or cross off hay bales then. That was what you,
Correct.
yeah. What note number is that?
I mean, it just says, it already says straw bales.
It
or
was just
straw
because on the
wattles.
prior two RDAs, he had referenced hay bales, but he has fixed that for these ones, and it does reference straw wattles. So there's nothing that needs to be crossed out for
Okay,
this.
oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
for that
yeah, yeah.
clarification.
Yeah, it's good.
Kind of jumping into it a little bit, yeah.
Work.
And certainly we already have it out there, so it's kind of a moot point at this point.
Okay. And Annie, you've been out there?
I'm usually out there at least once a week, every other week, and I get reports from TEC.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can't hear him.
You see?
Bill, could you try that again?
Yeah, oh, fuck it. Oh, perfect.
Testing, testing.
Hey.
Bill, do you have any questions?
No, no, I'm good on this.
All right, I guess we're ready to make a motion.
Okay.
You want me to make the motion?
No?
Here it is, you can do the same thing. One of those.
I guess, so we motion to close the hearing on Lot 9, and we will issue a negative determination for, what is this, we just say Lot 9?
Lot 9, 106 King.
At
also
106
known
King
as
Street,
4 Katy Lane.
also known as
4,
4 Katy Lane, thank you.
with no changes to the plans.
Okay. With no changes to the plans.
Okay, perfect.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, then we'll take a vote. Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Two,
All right, and this was
recusing.
just lot 5.
Yeah, so we can go into lot 5 there if you got that. So similar in the same subdivision, 4-bedroom house, utilities, driveway, septic. We show the wetland buffer, 100-foot wetland buffer, 75-foot no-build structures, and 25 no disturbance zones on the plans. The house is 109 feet, plus or minus, to the bordering vegetated wetland. Driveway is 131 feet. Septic is 101 to bordering vegetated wetland. And the reserve is 103. This one has more grading only in the 50-foot buffer. And the erosion control should be noted at the limit also, along roadway construction, as part of the previous order of conditions.
Tree line. Here's the monument.
And this one might be a little trickier for monuments. Let's see if he has a note. We'll have to go through. 3 monuments are to be set. One's near the back on the 100-foot buffer, and the 2 are at the limit of the lawn. So our recommendation, or his, is that those will be put on the edge of the lawn rather than farther, because they're gonna maintain that around their house.
And if I can note, I believe that's also because that is where there is a drainage easement for, right, Kevin? There's the drainage easement there
Yes.
for the, yep.
It's lot 6.
So nothing permanent can be placed there either.
Yeah, stone walls. Okay. So that's erosion control. Okay.
So it's basically they're gonna have a lawn along that area.
So what's the distance of those 2 markers?
About 50 feet. I have to scale it off to see. Right around 50 feet.
We don't usually do that. We don't usually do 50 feet.
I would bring them right up to the 75-foot line if that's acceptable with you guys.
75?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the middle
Yeah,
of the
that's
yard.
usually,
You can
That's-
still cut the lawn on the other side.
yeah, no, that usually, we don't do anything less than
We're fine with
75.
that.
Okay, yep. We'll make that note, and Bill can make that change.
That's good. It's not moving them that much closer, but.
Markers to be at 75.
So we'll move those 3 monuments to 75 feet.
And what do we think about this
What's that?
grading?
I think it's all right.
Why?
Are they closer than 50 feet?
It's,
No, they're within between 50 and 75.
that's your personal cutoff?
No, I'm just saying that that's the 25.
This is 25, this is 75, so it is right around 50 feet that they start grading here, right?
But most of the grading is still between 50 and 75 in here.
Yeah, I don't really know how to judge the grading situation.
Well, it goes from, what is it, 162 down to 155 within the 50, so that's 7 feet of grade.
I don't know.
not too
I mean,
much.
the house is 109 away.
It's not more, it doesn't require any wall, a gradual slope over 25 feet. I don't know.
And then, is this the,
Septic,
within the 100 foot?
yeah, just the corner, right?
And that's okay?
Yeah. I mean, that's why they're filing, you know.
Yeah.
They're out of the 75-foot
Okay.
no build zone, it's just grading within.
Don't consider that part of building?
You know, it's a gray area.
And why do they have to do that?
Hmm?
Why do they have to do that? Why do they have to grade within that part?
I don't know, you can ask them.
Why is there grading being done within the 75 foot?
It's basic, I mean, you have a wetland down below and you don't want, you gotta, you know, keep a grade along the edge of the house that's not dropping off somewhere, you know, for safety. I mean, those are 2 foot,
Probably the,
3 to 1.
typically it's the 3 to 1 slope.
Yeah.
that it tries to achieve.
Oh, that you want to try to get to a 3 to 1 slope?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's less, it's a,
These,
3 to 1 slope is pretty standard, so nothing washes. It's not a steep slope.
yeah. These are 2 foot contours, you know, shown.
Yeah, I can see that. I just don't understand the grading within the 75 foot zone.
Oh, no,
Has
that part of that
area
grading
already
was
been-
associated with the roadway as well,
Okay.
which was already permitted.
A lot,
Okay.
a lot of it has been done.
Yeah.
If you can see the wall, the gray area,
Yep.
that's the wall. And to the right
Top-
of that wall, outside that wall, some distance, it's been graded and stabilized
Okay,
with that wall.
Yeah, it ties into that wall, the 156 ties into that wall.
See the end of the wall, I know you got the same plan, but here's the end of the
Yeah.
wall. So a lot of this has already been
Already been
graded,
done.
right.
Okay.
So, and that was part of the original order of conditions, and so this is the hay bale, or
Yep.
the silt sock that's in place now, that was in place for the road construction.
yep,
I think he's just trying to even it back out, but most of this grading here was already done.
it's already been done.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
What other thoughts do you have? Anything about the driveway? I mean, it's way out here,
Yeah,
but there's
right.
no, anything about this?
No.
You got nothing? What about any of this? That has nothing to do with this. This is planning board, right? And we keep the tree line.
Mm-hmm,
It's just that all this is real wetland down here.
right,
But this road is already in
yeah.
because we allowed it.
No, I know, well, that's the thing, is this
This is already,
really already
this has
not
already been done.
covered, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you look, I mean, the wetland grade is 148 or 150.
Uh-huh,
So, you know, the house is quite a ways above it.
okay.
You know, the house is probably, what is the elevation of the house? But it's like 166?
You know, it's 66
Yeah,
basement.
Top foundation is 167.
yeah. So you got, I mean, there's a, you know, you got 20 feet plus that you need to make up to go down to that wetland. So that's why there is that grading. So it's not a lot really to,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
All right.
Want to make a motion here?
All right, I make a motion to close the hearing and issue a negative determination for Lot 5 at Katy Lane, also known as 106 King Street.
With the markers changed.
Oh, yeah, with the markers at the 75-foot
3
Yeah,
markers.
we'll make that note, yeah.
zone.
Second, Any further discussion?
Bill, do you have any questions?
No, I think as long as the monuments get moved to the 75, I think we're okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I said I'm okay as long as those monuments get moved. I think a lot of this work has been done, and it's to get the grade to something acceptable, so I'm okay.
Okay.
All right. We're ready to vote. Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill,
Aye.
unanimous with 2 recusals.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Is this one yours? This is mine?
Yeah,
Is this mine or yours?
that's yours, I think.
Oh, yeah, it came from mine.
Okay, we're gonna skip down to 7 Apple Blossom Way hearing for a GRDA Groveland request for determination of applicability for a deck expansion at 7 Apple Blossom Way.
Thank you.
7 Apple Blossom. Get a plan for this, yes, yes, yes. Anybody here for this one? Okay, this was filed by DeHulu Homes. Let's see. Can you explain a little bit?
Yep, so, sorry, one second. So essentially, the owners of 7 Apple Blossom Way are just looking to expand their deck a little bit, so it's just renovate, or not renovate, I guess renovate, their existing deck and expand it a little bit. It's not moving any closer to the resource area, it's moving adjacent, if that makes sense. If you take a look at the second page, it shows the plans
I know what you're saying. But it's still going to be
within the resource area.
adding to square footage in the resource area.
Yeah. It's your typical deck, sonotubes, 3, 1, 2, 3.
3 more.
3 more, because if you look at the way it expands it, there's the new corner one,
We have that?
No, we just have
All we
the,
have is this.
Yeah.
there's this, which was the page before.
No.
Grab this one. Yeah, that's it.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
But I can't tell
Well, that's all we got.
the footage. Like, what's the distance?
The,
So there's the packet with the application for permits and services, and the second page of that shows the dimensions of the deck. And then the page after that is the My Map showing the distance from the,
There's a My Map? You have one?
oh, here it is, here it is.
Oh, okay.
38 Wood Street one that got stapled.
It's being made by DeHulu. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
So, sorry, my mistake.
so, 7 Apple.
We get distracted by the mailing address of 38
I thought that
Wood.
was 38 Benjamin Street.
Nope, that's just who the request is being made by.
Sorry, Annie, my fault.
We're idiots. Town fault.
So it's 63 feet away, right?
Correct.
And it's actually no closer than 6 feet away, 63 feet away.
Correct.
But there's still more deck that's going to be,
Yeah, but the sonotubes, you know, they're not really taking up too much ground space.
What is it now? Is it long?
Correct.
it says 12 by 12.
12 by 12, and they're adding 4 by 20 or something.
Okay, they're going back further.
They're
into the
going
house.
further away from the resource area.
Well, it's still going to be completely in
Yeah,
the buffer zone.
Whole house.
The whole house is.
the whole house is.
Yeah.
Yep, anyway, all right,
Oh, all those houses are,
yes,
you know that place.
yes, we do.
All right, any questions about this?
How are the sonotubes being dug? Are you the applicants?
No,
No.
nobody's here.
On a
I'm actually,
auger, on a bobcat, or?
I'm actually not sure.
Maybe we need them to come tell us a little bit more about what they're doing.
Yeah, I think we should just order that no vehicles will be allowed. They have to do it by hand or with a hand auger.
Well, if there's only 3 of them, that's not too much.
I
No.
personally don't mind like a bobcat, can we restrict it to like, they can only dig for the sonotubes and some max, I mean, what's the footing size on that, like 18 by 18 or something? I don't know. The point is, we don't want them doing a lot of digging.
Yeah, well, they're only gonna do the sonotubes and they're only,
Yeah, I just think we should specify that it's only,
Well, why
that's
don't you
all
say,
we're allowing.
why don't you say hand dig if you want to come in and ask for a variance, come in next month,
I agree.
okay.
right? Otherwise, you want to get going on it,
There's nothing wrong with using a hand auger.
Yeah. There's only 3.
or even a post hole digger, really.
Shovel.
Okay.
All right.
And then, I guess
I've done it.
we have to, that we would specify materials not be stored any closer.
Yeah, those are all standard
Okay.
things we put in a letter. This is just a letter permit. This is a GRDA. So I think the main thing we have to say is just no motorized vehicles on the property.
And erosion control?
It's fairly, you were there, right, Andy?
I don't think they need erosion
Fairly
controls.
flat, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, it's not like they're disturbing, there's not gonna be any open disturbed soil. You know what I,
Yeah.
like, there's not really much that's gonna be unstabilized, is a better way, I think, of
Right, there's going to
putting
be
it.
a
It's,
hole this big, 3 holes
I
this
mean,
big.
it's like the type of hole you would dig to plant a tree, but you're planting concrete instead,
Yeah.
essentially.
I personally don't think they need erosion.
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Not on that side,
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion that we issue a negative determination under the Groveland bylaw for the deck expansion at 7 Apple Blossom Way. That will include 3 sonotubes to be dug by non-vehicular equipment.
Second.
Any discussion? No, seeing none, then we'll take a vote. Terry,
Aye.
Tom, Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, and Bill,
Aye.
yes. Unanimous. Okay. Next. Next is hearing for 172 King Street. This is for a request for determination in Groveland RDA for some work that was done, already completed, and was done during the seasonal restriction. Okay. So, Annie, can you remind us about this a little bit?
Yep, so, this was at 172 King Street. It was a house renovation that was done that included not only the house, but also the grounds as well. The edge of the house is about 37, call it just 40, just for variance sake, 40 feet from the edge of the resource area. The entire house is within 100 feet of the resource area. Some of the work that was done was, siding, windows, roofing. A lot of clearing was done of debris in the yard, as well as removal of invasives. But then also fill was brought in around the left-hand portion of the house, if you're looking at the house from the street, to kind of add an additional, space to the driveway, essentially. Kind of like a little pull-off, I guess. So the homeowners have filed for their request for RDA, which you have in your packets, and then the seasonal waiver request is right after that, and then right after that is the MyMap showing the distances. I think prior to the last meeting, they had installed erosion controls per my request.
Yep.
We've followed every step since the last meeting.
You've been there and they look okay?
Yeah, I'd seen them before the last meeting, and I had seen them as well. I'm just timeline-wise trying to get it straight in my head. Yeah, so I had seen the erosion controls when they were put in place. I mean, the work had already been done, and the fill that they brought in for the driveway had been compacted already. But, I mean, it was still work done without a permit, so.
Was there anything cleared besides what you think were invasives? Did you cut any trees down or cut any shrubs?
Trash and stuff that we were talking about before.
You didn't cut any trees down or remove any shrubs?
There were no stumps.
Okay.
When was the work done?
It was about February.
February, March.
So how many days would you estimate that active work was going on?
Probably half a day to prep the area, and then another half a day to fill the area and compact it, so basically like a day's work.
Oh, I'm talking about all the work you did.
Oh, for
Not
the
just
whole
the-
renovation?
Yes.
It probably took, the renovation was about 3 months.
3 months, huh? Okay,
But all permits were pulled.
Yeah, we
and
pulled permits for everything.
yeah,
everything.
I understand.
No one told us about this.
Are you living there?
conservation area. No, we're not.
Are you planning to?
No, we're not.
You're selling it?
Yes.
Correct. So the house was completely in unlivable conditions. I mean, there was a toddler could fall through in the kitchen. Every window was falling out of the house.
It was to the point where I would say almost condemned at that point. And like I said, there was trash everywhere all over the yard, and the house was full
I
of,
mean, they had appliances in your
it was a hoarder,
conservation area.
it was a hoarder situation.
Okay, so all the work was February, March. Let's say didn't include April 15, so that would be approximately 75 days, less weekends would be, what's that? 8, 10 weeks, 20 days, 65 days.
Okay.
So in the work that was done, there was, besides the excavation or the driveway part,
Correct.
there was roofing, a new roof put on?
Yep.
Right, but all permits were pulled for that.
Right, I'm just trying to understand the outside work, so there was a roof put
Roofing,
on?
siding, windows, everything.
Okay,
Everything
so
has been
every.
done.
and
With
then
no
whatever you were
erosion
doing on the
control in
inside.
place?
What was that?
With no erosion control in place until,
No, but as we pulled all these permits, like we said before, that no one told us that we needed to do any of that. We've
Right.
pulled a
And we
burn
purchased
permit,
those.
we've We pulled every permit except doing this excavation because we didn't realize we had to. Because it's realistically minor work, it just comes close to the conservation area that no one told us about. That when we bought the house, when we pulled the permits, no one ever discussed that we were sitting
No
around
realtors or anything.
conservation.
It was a small extension of the original driveway.
Which is why we pulled permits for everything else, and this was already done. We would have pulled the permits and done it correctly if we had known that that's how it had to be done. Right. We thought we did everything correctly until this surprise.
Okay, so there was, this is related to the seasonal restriction waiver, so I think the majority of the work falls under the $200 per day, not $400 per day fee. So for 65 days, that will come out to $13,000.
Would be fine for that.
No, that's a seasonal restriction waiver fee. It's $200 a day.
Okay.
It's not a
If you come
fine.
to us, if you had been aware of the conservation jurisdiction and you'd come to us, that's what we would have charged you to do the work then.
Okay. During those times that you're not technically supposed to be doing the work. Right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's what it boils down
So
to.
if we knew that, we wouldn't have done the work until it was the right time.
Right, usually.
You could have, yeah, you could have made a decision.
I mean, some people, it really, the people, it's about 50-50 of the people that come to us. Half of them say,
Okay.
this is killing me, here's the money, I gotta do the work.
Right.
And the other half say, see you April 16th.
But why is nobody, when somebody purchases a house on the wetlands or your conservation lands, having somebody come out when you purchase a home to?
We don't know that. How do we know? We don't
I'm not saying.
No,
you're
I-
Notified
negative,
of
I'm
home
just
sales.
asking
we don't
why
know.
there's no person in place to enforce that upon a realtor that has a listing in the area.
The realtor should know.
Yeah, but we pulled permits, like you said, for the roofing, for everything, and no one
There's,
told us that we
there's
had to
no
put-
legal requirement for us to tell you, you have to file the permit. You have to do your own due diligence. The building inspector has no legal obligation to let me know that you guys are working on a house.
Right,
A realtor has no legal obligation to let you know that there's wetlands nearby.
yeah.
There's nothing, and we are not, the Conservation Commission, my department's not notified when homes go for sale.
Right, 'cause,
No, I'm not mad at it, I'm just curious.
But I'm saying when permits are pulled, last time we were here, you guys were saying that someone was supposed to discuss
They,
the situation.
they do out of
slip through the
courtesy,
cracks.
but they're not required to. It's still, the burden falls
Okay.
on the person doing the work.
Okay.
when it
In
comes
an
down
idea,
to it.
what we were saying is, in an ideal world, there'd be this web of communications where everybody who's
Correct.
involved and you know, the electrical, you know, all the different permitting things will come to a central place.
Correct,
In an
yeah.
ideal world,
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
but not an ideal world.
Personally, I think I think for the excavation, I think they should be dinged for a day if they would have done it, because we would have charged them
So that,
$400.
there was no excavation
Or,
done.
well,
It was just fill that was brought in, which is,
Yes,
But, I mean-
grading, grading falls under the same,
well, okay, there,
it-
the Wetland Protection Act has them listed separately, so I just want to make sure we're calling it what it is.
I forget on our fee schedule where if we make the distinction between excavation versus general,
That's
Exterior work.
$400 a day.
right, so I
And we're
guess,
sticking with the 200.
right, so in my mind, I can see that, I can see 100, or, you know, a one-day equivalent for that fee. I don't have a particular, example in mind, but given the way houses are in Groveland, I can virtually guarantee somebody did a roof next to a wetlands just because a roof is done in like a day or two.
I know, but they still need to,
What I'm getting at is, there's probably a lot of houses that have roofs put on that we never know about, because they're in and out in a day or two.
So if you're talking about just exterior work, I mean, the siding, the roofing, and the excavation, if you want to put that all into a lump sum of work, that's probably a week's worth of work for exterior work.
Yeah, I guess I have a problem with charging every day. I'm trying to, when Whitestone Village, we charged them when they did the siding
I
and the outside work.
completely agree with that.
What took 3 months? The clearing?
We had to we ordered cabinets for the kitchen. I mean, it's all
Everything's still
from,
backed up.
from
Our
when we
windows were
bought
8
it
weeks out.
until when the project is done.
We were talking to people today,
But it's not 3
ordering
months of
cabinets,
work.
and they're 13 weeks out. So I suspect, I mean, you put a lot of work into that,
Did
presumably.
everything.
Yeah,
But I suspect you weren't there every single day.
absolutely not.
And I think it would probably be, since there was no log or anything, we're just sort of guessing how much, if we say, okay, how about we just do half the days? And have it be 30 days at 200 and 1 day at 400 and just say,
But like,
we're not going to be able to go through and
No,
document.
absolutely.
Right, no, you can't.
but I could tell you right now, like the siding took a week. A roof, like you said, takes a day. The excavation or grading, whatever you want to go about that's a day. So I mean,
There wasn't,
we're
for exterior work,
pushing
there
2 weeks,
wasn't
in my opinion.
that 30 days worth of work outside at all.
Right.
So it's kind of intense to hear.
Everything else is inside, the kitchen, the bathrooms, like, everything, I mean, we kept the site clean at all times, I mean, like, I'm just trying to,
That doesn't make any difference.
I'm just trying to say that for exterior work, I think that we're not doing any exterior work for longer than 2 weeks at the most, in my opinion.
So Terry, you said cut it in half plus
I'm
1 day.
I'm happy with,
So that would be $5,400. That's a significant cut,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
What did we do at Whitestone? That was, we charged them every day they did siding, right?
Well, we charge them every day.
Yeah, they
Well,
pay
they
for
were-
it.
Whether they were actually doing anything or not.
We did?
We charge them from the start of the project to the completion of the project. And if they had a rainy day when they weren't out doing anything, they paid.
In there,
And they were, I was up there once a week or so to make sure that the erosion was under control. If I saw something, they fixed it. And we had no oversight. We have no idea. We have no
I
idea.
understand where you're coming from, I do.
And you probably don't even have a log where you could come up with an exact number either.
No, I don't.
So
No,
we're trying to come up with is a number that's fair to you, fair to other people who did go through the process properly or decided not to work during the seasonal restriction.
Gotcha.
We're trying to be as fair as possible.
No.
We joke,
We're working with you
we
too.
joke that if we come out of a decision and everybody hates us, we've done our job.
Yeah.
Because we haven't gone too far one way, we haven't gone too far the other way.
I totally
And we
understand.
want to do what's fair
I
for,
totally understand, but
for other people as well.
I just wanted to put my opinion.
Sure. Well, you
My
talked
opinion
yourself
out there.
down from 13,000 to 5,000, so that's an
better-
$8,000 day. You've done
Better
pretty
than-
well.
It's better than nothing.
It's way better than nothing.
It's already been a week, so
All right.
just hit us with what you got at this point.
all right, so I'll make a motion to close the hearing for 172 King Street and issue a positive determination under the bylaw and Mass DEP for work done within jurisdictional areas during the seasonal restriction under the bylaw. And incurring a fee for the seasonal restriction waiver that included in the motion of $5,400.
Second. I do want to point out, we're not fining you either, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
we-
I understand.
We feel for you on that,
Yeah,
so.
I understand.
It could be even way worse.
I appreciate We appreciate it. Trust me, I believe you.
Yes.
Like I said, it's
I
already
can't
way
even-
worse on the other end of life right
Yeah,
now. So
yeah.
we
No,
appreciate your
in an ideal
gratitude.
world, the Realtor would have a better handle on things like that.
Yeah.
We're working on trying to automate some of the communications with the real estate transactions, and it just doesn't happen in a snap of a finger.
Yes.
I understand it to that point, but I just figured if we were pulling a permit or something, that someone would say, hey, you're in this area.
Yeah.
But-
We're talking ideal world again.
Right,
Yeah.
I get it, trust
No.
me.
Totally.
Did the building inspector go out to the site?
He
Yeah.
did,
He did, okay.
yeah.
But it was winter time. Not quite as,
February.
Well, yeah.
yeah, anyway,
It was more interior work for him.
yep.
Okay, any further discussion? Bill's still on there. Okay, hearing none, then we'll take a vote. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
A reluctant aye.
you can vote no.
I'll go
You can
aye.
abstain.
No.
So are you voting yes or
I'm
no?
voting yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Just because Terry brings up a good point, there's been other people who paid because they wanted to do the work, so we need to be fair to everybody, but.
Yeah.
We're trying to be reasonable.
Yeah.
And without a log and knowing exactly what was done, when it was done, this is just guesswork.
Just, if you ever do work in town, if you're unsure, even before you buy the property, come talk to us.
Yeah,
We'll-
Oh,
we'll
now we
give you
know.
Our best,
now we know.
Well, now we know.
there's a lot of
Usually,
properties that we've
yeah.
worked with, so we have a good idea.
We've learned a lesson today, for sure.
Thank you.
Other towns are much more strict.
Yes. North Andover.
Some are better than others, huh? Absolutely.
Don't go in North Andover.
Noted.
Okay,
All right.
next
Now,
is,
do they,
Where do we pay
what do we,
Oh.
that?
because
Sorry.
they're trying to sell this place.
You can
and-
submit the check to me, just make it out to the town of Groveland.
Okay. 5,400, correct?
And then do we sign like some sort of?
yeah, it's going to be an RDA, so we have to sign that.
Okay.
So,
Further filings that we have to do, or?
Everything's
okay,
all set, we just
pay.
have to
Got it.
make the payment.
yeah.
They don't have to
And
register
you-
anything.
No,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. They don't have to,
Yeah, yeah,
there's
so
there's
you'll
nothing
get-
holding up.
You'll get a form from us, but it's a Mass DEP form and also a Groveland letter that says you
Yeah.
followed all the stuff. Sometimes the buyer may want that stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
Depends on how much they know.
Right.
How good their lawyer is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to close the hearing portion of the meeting at 8:03 PM.
Second.
Second.
Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill?
Aye.
Yeah, okay, unanimous.
You guys don't need to stay, and you can take some rhubarb if you want.
Thank you, but I'll pass.
Thank you.
Just wanted to get this cleared up.
All right, well,
Thank you.
very much.
good
Enjoy the
night.
rest of your week.
Take care.
Thank you, Annie.
Okay, Annie, tell us about the update on One Manor Drive.
The property management company has hired an engineer to put together a notice of intent for the houses that are along the river, or stream, I'm sorry, because they are all going to need to construct second means of egress per the building inspector and fire department.
That's like 4 buildings, right? 4 or 5?
I don't know how many it is. I would guess 4 or 5. I don't know off the top of my head. Part of that notice of intent is also going to include drainage associated with the sump pump that is currently, that was the issue. That's
Well,
why
I
we were
think I have
having.
to recuse myself on this one, too.
We're not doing a hearing, you don't have to recuse yourself. This is just,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Just a discussion.
yes.
We met with the engineer a couple weeks ago, and to mitigate temporarily the runoff issue, and you can see this in the photos, they've repositioned the sump pump pipe that comes out, and they put it through this type of kind of sock that filters it and also slows it down, and it then percolates from there and runs off from there into the stream in the back there. it's working well. It's looking good. It's going to take the engineering company time to put all of this. Nope.
Is this water issue more of an acute problem, or is it a chronic?
The ground,
Is it the sort of thing where nobody did anything for several months, and then all of a sudden they got all this water out, and if it was normally, 20 gallons a day, we wouldn't even notice it, but
I
it was
don't-
2,000 gallons in one day?
I have no idea.
We don't know. We went there one day, and the pump barely stopped running. I couldn't believe how much water that thing was pumping out of there. It didn't make any sense, because if it was working correctly before, where was all the water going? And there's no indication
Well,
of...
if there's a buildup, if they had an entire basement 6 feet full of water,
No, but
then-
this had been pumping for days on end, Terry.
okay.
How do they live there if they have that much water?
I don't
mean, I know
know.
nobody lives there at the moment.
No, but that's what I mean. It doesn't make any sense. And this is only one of like 4 or 5 buildings.
And they're allowed to drain into the wetlands? They're allowed to?
No.
No. If they had a sump pump, where is it going? I don't know what they've done with the drainage there.
What's the bylaws related to sump pumps next to the wetland?
Oh, you're not supposed to.
No.
I've got a wetland, I've got a sump pump.
Well, I think
Is
normally.
it directed at the wetland?
Is it what?
Directed at the
Well,
wetland?
eventually.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is you don't want to cause
It's
erosion.
also, it's groundwater
Yeah.
coming out of it that's being filtered again.
And you're putting it back where it came from?
You just want to
You're putting it
prevent,
back into your basement via the soil?
So right now,
What are
so
they percolated into?
before the issue was that it was running into the driveway and the road there, picking up all sorts of sediment. It is no longer doing that.
Okay.
so they've solved that problem
They have
temporarily.
temporarily solved that
Yes.
problem. They have hired an engineer who is going
Okay, I
to
was just gonna
compile a
ask.
notice of intent that will include this drainage issue and a more permanent solution, as well as a notice of intent for, like I said, those second means of egresses that will go along the back of the building. They have to, go in with their surveying equipment and get all of that stuff done, which is why we have not seen it at this meeting, but they have put in this temporary mitigation for the runoff right now. And they have not done any further work with the second means of egress for the building that had the fire incident. They have not, they've done internal work, which they're more than welcome to do, but they have not touched any exterior work.
So that came up when the building exploded and the fire department says, what's going on here? How come we can't get our equipment in here?
Exactly.
And was it in violation, or is it just a good idea?
If you're really looking into getting into the weeds of it, you can talk to Sam, the building inspector.
Nope.
Yep. It was grandfathered until there was a reason
Okay.
to basically say that you can no longer be grandfathered.
So there was a critical event that
Exactly.
said, okay, this isn't going to work anymore. All right.
So, we have fined the management company, issued a fine letter to them. They haven't paid the fine yet, right?
Nope.
I mean, we have to make sure they pay that fine. I don't even think we should open the hearing on the notice of intent until they pay that fine. And was any of that work done during the seasonal restriction wait time? We don't know.
Must have been, right?
I mean, it's
Because
only
the
May 10th now.
The seasonal restriction
11th,
only
10th.
ended like
All
3
right.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we'll have to hit them up with that to find out how many days' work was done during the restriction period also. But we can do that within the notice of intent. But I want them to pay that fine before we permit anything.
Yeah.
And the
And
waiver
the
fees.
waiver fees, because.
Well, the waiver fees will be part of the filing.
I would make a suggestion, if they still haven't paid the fines, that before any work continues, it can be part of the filing and whatever we decide, but that should be paid before they do the work.
Well, but they're gonna have to write a letter requesting the waiver and then tell us how many days' work was done or
Right,
estimate.
my point is, so in my opinion, they should pay the fine, and they should pay the seasonal restriction amount, whatever that ends up being,
Yeah, but-
before they're allowed to move forward with any other work.
But we don't know what the waiver's gonna cost them, because we don't know until they file how many days they did work.
Well,
You know,
can
it's the
we-
same game with these folks, they don't know.
Right, can
So-
Annie ask them? I mean, you must have some notes on
I
when
know,
you were
but-
first called out there.
I don't think it really makes any difference, you know, if we can
Well-
find out, we can find out.
I mean, we should track
Mike,
it as best we can.
Mike,
We
Are you
just,
there
suggesting
any
there
way-
could be like a cease and desist?
No, we already issued an enforcement order against them,
Then we should be okay, right?
yeah. But I mean, normally, the normal process for a waiver is it's during the hearing of
Right.
the permit, you know?
Right.
So that's what I'd say.
It's
you
almost
know.
like we shouldn't make a decision on it because we don't actually have an application in front of us for it.
yeah, I get that. I guess my issue is we know they did work during the seasonal restriction. So, to be fair, I think to the people who are just here, they should come clean with us, meaning the fine should be paid and whatever amount that we determine for the seasonal restriction should be paid first before they're allowed to continue. That's my only issue. Because otherwise, what incentive is there for that?
So
Well,
by
they have
continue,
to.
do you mean just file the permit or continue work?
Continue
because-
work. They can
yeah.
still, they can have a hearing here and we can discuss it, but I don't think we should vote on it until those
Yeah.
two things are taken care of. Because otherwise, there's no incentive for them to ever come, they're not selling it.
I
It's not
agree.
like they need us to.
Yeah.
No, but we won't issue the permit unless we get the
Right,
money.
that's my point. I'm all fine with having a hearing. I just don't think we should issue the permit until.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
no,
those two items.
yeah, we wouldn't do that.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
Mike,
But
that's
I
a
wanna
permit
collect
from
the
us.
fine.
Bill's
right
trying to
away.
say something.
Yeah, I'm curious that, we're talking about a permit for our work.
Can you
Sorry,
turn that
we
up a little
can't hear
bit?
him.
Can you
Try
hear me
again,
now?
Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That, we can stop them from getting a permit from us. Is there any way that we can have their permit for the actual work with the town
Oh, yeah,
blocked, or?
yeah. The
Because
building,
I'd like to
the
see
building
that.
inspector isn't gonna do anything until we approve it.
Okay. When we talk about Terry's communication web, I just want to make sure that, they get a permit for work from the town and they go off and we're still,
No.
trying to catch up.
When we issued the letter regarding the fine, I copied the building
Okay.
inspector and somebody else,
Fire department.
Okay.
fire department, yeah.
Are contractors aware of wetland possible bylaws when they're doing work, and why aren't they alerting property owners?
It really depends on the.
And
They are.
We've had tree people alert the owners, we've had
I
septic
know
people.
Collins are really good about that, I've heard.
Yeah, well, I think my guess is Joe Schmo Plumber or whoever did the sump pump has no idea about wetlands because he's
Yes.
a plumber. Like it's not like an excavator, is my guess.
Well, I mean, like, even aside from this, like, on these other properties where contractors are doing work, like, can we have some kind of rule where if you know that's a wetland right there, can't we?
But they don't necessarily
Yeah,
know
but
that it's a wetland.
Stephanie, there's people that say, oh, there's a stream back there. That'll be great. I'll just dump the water there. I mean, that's, unless they're educated about the bylaws and wetlands, they're gonna see it as a convenience.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else on this? Next is Pentucket Regional School District extension request.
Or is it conditions?
Yeah, this is under the bylaw only.
Can we move to extend?
Yeah, what do they want?
They're asking for a year out of simplicity's sake. They're gonna be done by this fall. But they're just gonna extend it for a year. It's up in August.
It's in August, so they need like 2 months or something.
How about
Yes,
we
but they're
extend
just
it-
asking for a year, just in case there's
Oh,
any
a year.
final touches.
How about we extend it to the beginning of the seasonal restriction?
Yes, exactly.
And then, or the hearing before the seasonal restriction, well, the seasonal restriction, and then we can discuss it at the hearing before if it needs a special, further extension.
Yep.
If they're gonna be finished by August, this shouldn't
So
be an
they're
issue.
gonna be finished with work in August, but they have like a year-long contract after for if anything goes wrong.
Right, and if something goes wrong and.
Yep, we
Yeah.
can do that.
I move to extend this to November 1st, 2023.
Second, I agree with thought process.
If something comes up, they're gonna need to come in front of us anyway.
Exactly.
And that'll just make it a little more clear.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yep. Any discussion on the motion to extend to November 1st, 2023 for the Groveland Order of Conditions under the bylaw? Hearing none, then we'll take a vote. Terry?
Oh, second.
You motioned for it.
No, Stephanie seconded, didn't she?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I seconded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephanie seconded.
Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Stephanie? Mike?
Oh, aye, sorry.
Mike,
Aye.
yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Next is the remediation plan for the 6-acre parcel at Esty Park owned by Mr. Eric Harper.
Oh, you know what? I didn't count the number of trees that I put in. So Terry and I came up with a little bit of a plan, where we're gonna restore the white pine canopy, towards the back. And we know that this is going to be an extension of the bike trail. So we were gonna leave the opportunity for making that a potential rest stop on the bike trail. So the area where the driveway comes in, like, I think that probably will always be a little bit of an access area. So we were gonna restore the white pine canopy and put some transitional trees and shrubs with ground cover and native grasses and flowers, hopefully to try to protect that area from invasives moving in. There is at the access point some interesting horsetails that are growing that I included a photo of, but it's much prettier in color, and you can't really tell that that's what this is right here.
Oh, I see them, yeah.
They're kind of a really interesting sort of archaic plant.
Prehistoric.
Exactly. So that's included in the photos. And then I took a little walk out there with Diane Plantamer, who's a master gardener who's doing a lot of work at VZ. And so we talked about, and Terry and I wanted to keep it simple. So we just have a few species here. We wanted to remove a brush pile that's there, as well as some asphalt and dirt piles. And just leave that sort of, there's that little area that's very compacted that we thought might be a good spot for the picnic table. So if I put a little list on this is the slide with the
Slide 5.
species, right here with the service berries and things in color, but yes, this is the list of species. So just, we were gonna put the row of, it looks like it's somewhere around 15 or 20 white pines in the back and green there. And then Terry is really liking the idea of some blueberries, which actually would fit for the area, you know, bordering a wetland. So have 2 groupings of blueberries there. And then amongst the blueberries, we are hoping to plant some little blue stem grass, very similar to what 150 Center Street looks like, with the addition of some black-eyed Susans, yarrow, and just some common milkweed. And then there are some deciduous trees near the access road. And so we just wanted to have some scrub oaks there with some service berries and some American plums. That's kind of it. What do you guys think? If you look at some of the remainder of the slides, you can see where there are some Canada that's the horse tail, see how it's kind of really interesting? Those are Canada Mayflowers that are coming up through the asphalt. The next slide are, you walked that to, like, it's another 50 feet or whatever, to that little Johnson's Creek that goes through, and just on the other side, all that barren area are knotweed coming up. So,
Well, there's a surprise.
yeah, so we're gonna have to do something about the knotweed situation. And then I think the last slide is just of, they had tried to do some excavation work on this humongous giant stump that's about the size of my car, so. So I'm hoping to just move.
That's happened since the sidewalk?
Yeah, yes,
Did we
it
ask them to
has.
do that?
No, and I just want to move that, all that dirt right back in there, like, I don't know why
I
they're,
don't think there's any.
why are they trying to pull a stump
I
out?
don't think there's any need to.
Who's
to-
doing that?
I don't know.
Well, they shouldn't be.
No, I
One
know.
thing, it's in the
Well,
jurisdictional
Is it
area.
is it within the 200-foot buffer?
It's gotta be, right? I mean, I would assume.
I mean, I'm sure his intentions are good.
I don't know who's doing it.
but Bury the damn thing and.
Somebody-
Yes, just leave,
Get
I
the-
want to leave the dead trees there, but there is a brush pile alongside
Get
the access path.
asphalt out of there. I don't even care about the rocky soil because welcome to New England.
No, the
But-
blueberries will grow there, all of the,
But.
everything will grow
asphalt is
there.
just not a good thing.
No, agreed,
And they shouldn't be out there digging up stumps.
agreed.
So how do we,
Stop compacting the soil.
Can, I guess, can Annie call him and ask what the heck are you doing? I thought it was rather clear after our site walk that you shouldn't have done this and don't do anything anymore.
don't make it any worse?
And if he doesn't know who's digging on his land, that's a whole nother issue.
I mean, how did they get back there?
Right, I mean, they gotta go through a whole bunch of fences. It's gotta either be him or somebody who rents from him. How do they not know?
There's
who's
all kinds
doing
of security cameras and barbed wire fence right, like razor wire fence right there.
So, the only thing I would say is we should put numbers on each thing we're asking him to do.
Yeah, so I have
The
this.
number of trees we want planted, the
1, 2, 3,
number of
4, 5,
brush.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 white pines. I think it was 5 service berries, 3
Yeah,
scrub oaks.
Yeah. And the size.
Oh,
the
yes.
Size.
How do we determine the white pine size?
Well, you can say the diameter, so you,
That's way too big.
Too big?
They should be,
Why?
Why is that too big when he cut down 200-year-old trees?
2-inch.
they don't transplant that well if they're that big. Let's make, I would rather have twice as many small trees that were maybe 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall, that have a chance of making it. You get a big tree in there and you gotta really work.
Oh,
on it.
yeah, you don't want big.
Yeah.
Especially in that soil, because any sort of drought, and you're gonna have to water it like literally every day.
Yeah.
And, I would rather have, I've been looking at more pine trees than what you have indicated there.
Yes, I have our notes.
Yeah, I had more like 60 of them.
I know, but I
could see
don't-
less than that.
If you look at the photo, though, my pano shot, I don't know if you could put 60 trees in there, is the
So I
thing.
thought when we were out there, I know I roughly counted, and I think I came up to like 36 or 39, and I think Bill counted too. It was,
Yep.
Big
like
trees
large-
that
large
they
trees
cut
that they
down.
cut down.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. If you put in smaller trees closer together, and then 20 years down the line, you cut some of them down to give them more room to grow.
right, I guess
And
my
those are
point
the ones
is.
that, or some of them die. So,
Yeah, it should be,
so you put
to
in,
your logic, much more than, say, 36, 35 trees
yeah, I'm saying it should be
now.
like 60 of them.
I know, but if we're gonna make it a transitional, which it's already trying to
But you only,
be,
that area is what,
transitional
200
period.
by 100? And if you spread them out, 15, 20 feet apart, that's only going like halfway
right,
to
but
the
if you
trail.
count right there, there's only 15 trees across.
No,
big
but they
ones.
said they counted 36.
Well,
All the way to the edge. So you don't want to have a transitional, you just want to put all white pines back in.
No. You- You saw what I had there?
Yeah,
Okay. So I wanted white pines like halfway into the area that he cleared.
uh-huh.
And maybe, forget about this fourth one, just 3 rows maybe, ish. And I'm using rows because they're easier to visualize than random trees. But the equivalent of like 3 rows coming in maybe halfway into that area and then going into nothing but shorter stuff for the other half, to the path.
Can I don't think you mentioned her name, the lady from BZ?
Diane,
so
yes,
Diane,
Plantamura, yeah.
Can she help make some of these decisions, or
No, I don't think so.
it's not the right thing? I mean, I don't know, I get what you mean about a large tree, you gotta take care of, but I'm not an expert in that, so.
I mean, I've seen so many of these really ambitious landscaping jobs.
Oh, I'm not
where-
trying to landscape, I'm trying to put,
Well, this is
natives
landscape,
back
whether
in
you,
there.
whether you like it or not, this is landscape.
Uh-huh.
It's supposed to be randomish and sort of natural landscaping, but it's still landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's established, we are an intimate, or the humans are an intimate part of making this succeed. You can't just, but all those little arborvitae by the dog park, how many of those do you think are still gonna be there in 2 months? Half of them
I
already
tried to
started
advise
die.
against the arborvitae, so,
I'm a big
but
fan
I
of
was,
them myself,
I
but-
was shot down.
but,
The deers love it.
Well, so I think you bring up a good point, we gotta decide exactly how we do this, I don't know if we have the expertise necessarily.
Well, and another thing is you can get like 5 times as many small trees as
Well, are we trying to save money?
just to make it,
We want it to be successful, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know what the right answer is.
Well,
Maybe it's supposed to be
think
1-inch diameter or something, I don't know.
more towards what Terry is saying, smaller trees and more of them.
on the water tower on Wood Street, they put in hundreds of those little pine trees, and most of them have done okay.
Yeah.
Because they weren't trying to put a tree that was too far along
Right.
in an environment where it takes a little bit of time to succeed. If they were planted this time last year,
They
water,
die.
outdoor
Yeah.
water restrictions,
True. Yeah.
Well,
we-
ultimately, isn't that Eric Harper's issue, to make
we
sure this is
don't,
successful?
we want him to succeed.
Right, no, I.
Because then we
but-
can
but
walk away
ultimately-
from it and go on to something else.
But ultimately.
And if we have to go in there and say, hey, all your trees died, start all over again, then we're still involved.
I understand, but
We want to make this, we want to set this off on its course and have it take care of itself, because we got other stuff to worry about. So we want him to succeed. And if he doesn't
agree.
go broke buying 15-foot tall pine trees, maybe he'll put more money into watering it.
Well, I mean, is the answer to get a professional opinion like Greg
No,
Hockmuth?
no.
He's not
No,
a,
we need like an arborist or somebody who, like, probably whoever would supply the trees could make some
What about,
recommendations. I guess.
the Lovely Earth Company over there on Washington Street now?
I think we should keep it simple, but just add in the number of trees and the size. So why don't you and Terry get together and just finalize between the two of you how many trees and the size on them? Also include how many blueberry bushes. Put a number on everything.
I did put
Okay.
the number, I
Okay,
mean, what
well,
I have here are the numbers,
Okay.
but like, we can
But I'm just saying that
certainly increase the numbers.
the more specific we are with him, the better off
Okay.
we'll be,
Sounds good,
all right?
yeah.
I
But
mean,
it's
in an
good.
ideal world, he'll be able to go in and find some little pine trees among all those big pine trees.
Didn't actually see any growing,
Really?
yeah.
We went into the, because it doesn't look like, when there's a real canopy, then nothing will grow underneath it, but
Yeah.
that looks pretty open.
I didn't
Yeah.
actually see any pine
I thought we
trees
saw
growing in
a
there.
few of them.
I know, I did too. And then when I went back and looked and walked in there, because I took a lot of pictures
When you
that
got
day,
more rigorous.
I didn't see
Yeah.
any little baby
That's too
pine
bad.
trees.
I think the plan is very good. It's great. Just, like I say, just be as specific as possible. And so if we can try to get it
More
done
white
within,
pines.
in the next few
More white
weeks.
pines.
Okay,
What blueberry bushes?
I
love
have,
blueberries.
that's 40 altogether,
Oh, okay.
20 on each side. And then
Okay, I
little
didn't
blue
realize that
stems,
each one of
yarrow,
those represented
very
a
simple with
multiple.
the ground cover.
Oh, you know what? In .5 point font, that says 20 blueberries.
Well,
Now I can see
I sent
it.
it to Annie.
Now that you
But it's
tell
up
me
in the
that
I
what
will
I'm
send it
reading
to you
is
as well.
20. That's too funny.
Yeah.
So
All right.
so when you do that, then send it all to, out to all of us. But, you know, I think generally we'll go with whatever you come up with.
I just want to point out that I do have my resources also,
Excellent.
FYI.
Okay. Yes, yes.
So I'd say we're looking at more like, I don't know, 40 or so pine trees.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, we'll push it
going-
out.
Going a little bit further in
Yep,
toward the path.
love it.
And,
Let's do it.
and all that other stuff sounds cool.
Fill
I'm
in all the
already-
dead space.
I'm already collecting milkweed stuff
Love it.
and black-eyed Susan
Oh,
stuff.
good.
And I got a bunch of oak trees too that I need to get rid of, so.
Yeah, I want some scrub oaks in there, but
I don't
yeah,
have those.
okay.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to,
Yeah.
Wait, before I move,
yep,
who's gonna call him about the stump and why is he digging?
Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
And also, Annie just mentioned to him that the plan should be ready shortly. The next item on the agenda is markers. So, we have had 2 requests to alter our required markers. So currently, we require granite markers that are 4 inches by 4 inches, I believe, or are they 6 inches by 6 inches? 4, okay. So we had one request from Pentucket Regional for pressure-treated timbers. And then we had a request from a developer for these kind of funny metal signpost things that supposedly are being used in Andover, one of those crazy towns. So.
How many are we putting up in Pentucket?
Oh, well, I don't know offhand, but the issue with Pentucket is West Newbury has allowed them to use pressure treated. So their argument is, well, if they're okay for West Newbury, why can't they be okay for
You
Groveland?
know what, the longer seasonal restriction is okay for West Newbury too. How about we go with that?
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment, please?
Yeah,
So they, in our order of conditions that was issued, that I put in your meeting packets online, I didn't print it out. There are no specifications as to where the markers need to go. It says to look at, reference the meeting minutes, which don't mention them at all. So they went with what was consistent in West Newbury and what they do, except that they knew that we required granite markers. West Newbury is asking for pressure-treated posts 4 feet in the ground, 4 feet above above the ground with a plaque similar to ours. Because there's no information that I could find or that they could find regarding where we actually asked for them to be placed, they just went with what was consistent with West Newbury's, what they had requested for markers.
But they haven't put anything in yet.
Nope. So,
And for West Newbury either.
nope. So,
How many markers is West Newbury having them put in?
I'm getting there.
All right.
They're asking for about 126
What?
of pressure-treated wood.
They're building a fence?
What's the spacing, like every 10 feet or so?
Are they touching each other?
So, well, they have
They touch each other.
They have significantly more space, so you can see all of this is the markers for West Newbury. It goes, I mean, it goes all the way down to the limit of work.
Oh, it's every 20 feet, they have a note there.
So it's 127 pressure-treated wood posts, and for Groveland, what they're asking for, or what they proposed to keep in line with West Newbury, it would be 40 granite bounds along this area.
What does that mean?
Well, 40 granite markers.
Okay.
Well, how about
So-
we do them a solid and say we want about 10?
So I will.
No, but I don't want to discuss, I only brought that up to tell you what they are asking as far as change from granite to pressure treated. I don't want to talk about what else, where they're going and how many. I want to concentrate on the markers. So the markers, like I say, right now, we require granite.
Yep.
I want us to consider, based on what West Newbury is doing and what Pentucket Regional has requested, consider specifying either granite or pressure-treated. It can be at the applicant's choice, or we could say anything over a single-family home can be pressure-treated, everything else has to be granite. So one person comes in, 3 or 4 markers, granite, it's not that big of a deal. Whereas a big development where they're gonna have 30 or 50 markers, they could be pressure treated.
What's the most number of markers we've ever, was it, whatchamacallit, Stonebridge?
Yeah, I would say
So that
probably,
probably had cumulatively, among maybe 10 houses, we probably had 30.
50, 30 to 50.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We-
Well, 30 to 50, yeah.
I'll give you 30 to 50.
Yeah.
Um,
And the price of them has increased now to, I believe they're almost $400 a marker. It
Okay.
used to be
But
100.
the thing is,
so-
we're not gonna, I know you want to make it a separate issue, but we're not going to tell these people that we want a marker every 20 feet.
Right, I don't
Oh,
understand.
no,
that.
no,
Every
I-
20
So
feet
I don't
No,
think
but
it's,
that's not the point.
Well, it is
Again,
sort
I'm
of the
not
point.
talking about, don't talk about that. I'm just talking about the material they're made out of.
So I thought the whole, way back when we started doing this more rigorously, the idea was you get something that's quote-unquote permanent, difficult to move, not easy to destroy.
Gesundheit.
Yeah,
And
well-
my opinion, I mean, I get the whole cost thing, and I get the ease of installation. Granted, you need a machine, wood post, you can do by hand. You can chop that thing off in 2
Yeah.
seconds with a chainsaw.
And just because it's pressure treated doesn't mean it's gonna last.
well,
Now-
do you want pressure treated next to your wetlands?
well, that's
Right.
why I'm
Very,
saying,
very
Not a big
good
fan.
point.
no, the new pressure treated don't include any
But
leachable stuff.
Yeah, they do.
No,
Okay.
So are we concerned about the perceived permanence?
Like,
No.
what's the,
Is,
I'm-
like, because why did we do granite way
I'm-
back when?
I like the fact that West Newbury says, we've had some projects seek to use granite for aesthetics, which we do allow.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You like
give
that?
them a
I do like
choice.
that.
You give them a choice. I wouldn't put pressure treated in my yard like that, but I'd put the granite ones,
Well,
so.
Tom's point about the permanence is completely valid. I think
Well,
we.
I hate to tell you, but there have been instances where the granite markers have been removed and where they've been moved. So
Right.
permanence doesn't exist.
Okay, well, I hope if you know of these particular instances.
No,
you've
they
taken
are
steps
not
to-
widespread. I'm just saying that a couple, I couldn't believe they had been
Well,
moved, but they were moved in
do we-
Stonebridge.
So, should we just accept the fact that, fine, for the developer, we can keep or whoever has the permanent in front of us, we can keep their foot to the fire to make sure they're installed? but do we all acknowledge the fact that 10 years go past and somebody else moves in the house, and in that 10 years, or when the new owner comes in, we have no clue if they go in there, whether it's granite or pressure treated, move it or cut it or do whatever, because we don't
Yeah.
have any mechanism to go back there every, say, 5 years and look and say, oh, you're missing your markers, you need to reinstall them.
All they are an additional warning that hopefully people pay attention to. You know what I mean? They're like signs. People can ignore them all they want, you know?
Actually, we should have had our friends at 172 King put in a couple.
I mean, we don't have standards as far as where they go, which I find to be a problem, because we're
Well,
not
but
consistent.
We're not consistent because we're trying to be flexible.
Right.
There are
Yeah.
different
Right.
circumstances.
That's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying we add a little bit of more flexibility.
Well, okay, so let's put in
Personally,
the
I wouldn't.
flexibility that will allow them to apply for a variance. And we don't have to accept it. We can say, no, we want granite. Is this part of our bylaw anyway? Okay, so really, it's just, we're gonna be making
It's a
these decisions on a case-by-case
it's a-
basis anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a procedure, it's not,
part
it's
of
a
the-
policy.
Right.
Policy.
Right.
So
So we're gonna be doing this on a case-by-case basis anyway. I would say, don't advertise that it could be either kind, but consider it if the circumstances warrant it.
So what would be the criteria to decide? Personally, if we do pressure treated, I wouldn't do 4x4, I'd do a 6x6 to give it a little more heft. But what would be the considerations to say?
Well, that's a
no,
good
it
point,
has to
because
be
a
granite?
4x4 granite is 4x4. 4x4 pressure treated is 3.5 by 3.5.
Well, right, it's also just, it's not massive enough, in my opinion.
Right,
But
because it's 3.5 by 3.5.
why would we force someone to use granite? Like, I'm just trying to think in my head, like, what would be the criteria to say, oh, this one has to be granite?
Right.
instead of
Well, I
pressure
think it's
treated?
more of a matter of when would we say, well, okay, you can use pressure treated. I look at it from the other direction. The default is granite.
So we can make a rule and say, pick a number. If we say you need more than 5 on any single lot,
It's not even a
Mike-
rule, it's just that it's all,
well, no, we, if it's a policy, we should at least have some
Why can't we,
reasoning as to why
why can't we
would do one or
say
the other.
every 6 posts you have to put a granite one?
Well, we have a lot of properties that only have 2 or 3. or 4.
Right, so if it's only a small number, then why can't we leave it at granite? I don't understand why they're doing every 20 feet, that is a little bit
Well, right,
unusual.
that's what I'm wondering, if we do.
And then could it be like every so many have to be granite?
yeah, I mean,
Why can't we
So,
have,
if I can jump in here? I'd stick with granite on any single-family dwelling. I think to the permanence thing, to me, a 4x4 post gets cut down without a much effort.
I mean, people are gonna.
It may be somewhat psychological, but if there's a stone pillar there, not as many people are gonna remove that just offhand. This particular one, I'm wondering if it's more, they're going to have, townspeople cutting grass, I imagine. So the 20 feet is probably just so the guy doesn't start going in and around things. I think maybe aesthetically, it might be better for this particular project. I think it's significant enough in the numbers that I think I would be okay. I'm not going to worry about the permanence here as much because I don't see it as somebody trying to expand their yard. That's just, my 2 cents on this, but I think we stick with granite for our general ones, because I also don't want to talk about, if somebody then will come in as a developer and say, well, I'm putting, 5 houses in, it's not, why can't I do wood? It's not a single-family dwelling, it's a development. I personally like the granite.
I prefer the granite.
Is there, I mean, I can easily, everybody's always going to come in and say it costs too much money, Mike. I mean, I'm sure you're getting a lot of pressure on that. What is there another besides this thing, which is a little bit, we would never have said 20 feet, but are we getting pressure from somewhere else to change it, or from who, or what entity?
I won't say right now, but I
Okay.
told you I got a couple requests.
Well, I mean, I guess I look at that and say, well, then you could have people say, well, why are we charging people fees? Why is it not $20 a day to do work during the seasonal restriction? I mean, you could take it to the extreme and say, you could start questioning all the policies we have.
Sure, sure. No, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there that coincidentally, we have the school saying West Newbury's putting in timber, why are you saying granite?
Yeah.
And then I've got another person saying, oh, can we put in these metal special things like they do in Andover? So the pressure that we're getting are from other towns, mostly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're allowing things that we don't allow.
Annie, do you have any insight on this?
In what way?
Materials?
I mean, Mike kind of covered it. I don't really know what you're looking for.
I mean, I guess is there a movement away from granite?
I mean, like Mike's saying, we've seen it in a couple places, people asking to not use granite.
Yeah.
So that's,
That's a lot of posts.
Yeah.
I would be dead
The
set against.
granite-
I mean, do they want
posts
to,
at
do they
the
want,
school.
for consistency, do they want to put in every 20 feet in Groveland also? Wouldn't they rather put one every 100 feet in granite?
Kyle Leone, the project manager for this, I'm still in the works of talking to about it. I asked him to get me some numbers comparing the price of the two projects, because this is a town project when it comes down to it. If we've been talking specifically about the school, we've moved away from it in general, but this is a town project. You know, 127 of the posts are gonna be PT wood, 40 would be granite. The granite posts, the 40, if they go with 40, is gonna cost over 6 figures.
Right.
So for
But
the
we would not say 40 granite posts in Groveland.
We would have to ask them. I don't know.
We just wouldn't.
So,
I mean, if they want to put in 40, that's fine, but we wouldn't say, you've got to put a granite post every 20 feet. And I suspect, I don't know how construction projects like that work, but I suspect it costs more to put in 5 wooden posts than it does to put in 1 granite post. That's just my guess from construction costs. It's not the materials that are usually costly, it's the labor. Gallon of
Again, I think they're going for aesthetics, because it's right along the road. That's,
well,
I think they're basically building a fence.
if we're looking at the school, which is obviously a public works project and comes directly out of everybody's taxes, and if they're trying to, like you just said, Bill, if they're trying to be consistent across the whole thing and maybe also influence what the students are doing, that I think is a perfectly valid discussion. We can talk about that, and if we make an exception for this, I mean, I'm all for discussing it.
What do you mean?
I agree.
Well, I mean, whatever, you have the groundskeeper, then, the kids walking, do they not want them walking through the swamp or something? I have no idea. Why every 20 feet? I mean, they want to make it so, you would think an
It's like
employee
a
of the
fence.
town,
It's like a fence.
or an employee of the school who is doing work there, nobody's going to start arbitrarily going into the wetlands and spreading, enlarging
No,
the
your
field.
mower gets stuck and
Right, so there's, but whatever, if they want to be consistent.
I think it'd be worth it maybe having someone from WT Rich come in and explain the choices that they made.
sounds good. Make it happen.
That's smart.
Make it so.
Make it so. I'm sorry, I'm not up on my Star Trek or whatever it is. Star Trek.
But if, regarding the general topic, though, if we're getting a lot of flack because people are saying everything costs too much, fine, let's talk about it, but intent was to make something permanent.
I don't know if everybody's saying that. Mike says
well,
somebody said something, but he won't say,
Well,
What
I
it
can
is, but-
imagine we've had things in the past where other departments start giving us flack for things. So let's have the open discussion then and talk about what the issue is, and we'll see if we can resolve it. I mean, we're not doing it to try and to force people to pay more money. We're doing it so that there's something that we consider permanent, whether how permanent it is up for debate, but so that they don't expand their lawn 5 years down the road
Mhm.
after the realtor and the developer and everybody's
Exactly.
gone.
Yeah.
And I mean, Marion Way is a perfect example, that one house. They basically, not clear cut, but you can see the river now from the road, where before there used to be all sorts of trees and bushes there. It's getting to the point where we almost have to like take an inventory of everything on the day when it gets sold and say you can't do anything, but then we'll be, whatever, I can imagine
No,
that will
but
become a
we-
legal issue. at
we-
that
We
point.
have
can't-
maps that can look at things historically, though.
We can't do that, and I think that our compliance is pretty good. And you see, like, in these two cases, like with these folks, and then with Manor Drive, we caught them, you know, and they're gonna both pay severely more than what they would have if they just followed the rules.
I don't think so. I think what we ended up giving 172 King was pretty much what it would have cost them
Right.
if they'd come to us.
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
they.
We didn't fine them.
No, but maybe they wouldn't have done the
Yeah, I don't
work
think they
during
would've
the
done the work.
seasonal
I think they
restriction
would have
period.
died.
Well,
Flipping that
But,
house,
but what I mean, that's not the point. The point I'm making is that I think our compliance is pretty good. These signs, like any other signs, help, but they're not, you know, some people are gonna just do what they wanna do, no matter what the sign says, you know? And so, I think
completely
it's our
agree.
best effort, you know? So I'm gonna make a motion and vote whatever way you want, because I'm not sure what I think either, but I'm gonna make a motion that we change our policy to allow either granite or 6x6 pressure-treated timbers for,
That would still have a plaque on them?
yeah, everything else is the same. The length is the same, the material is the only thing that's changed.
And who
But-
gets
but
to
I
make
think-
that decision?
Yeah, can I say that we make the final decision? Friendly amendment. Conservation Commission is the final arbiter.
What are the
as to what-
criteria, then?
Yeah, see, that's the
Well,
trouble.
well, that's the whole thing. We don't
So
know
it
what
would
the
have to be
criteria.
dealer's
It's a
choice.
case-by-case basis, and if we're happy with something, then fine, and if we're not happy with it, then no.
I'll put $1,000 on the table if I had it. If we give people the option, they're always gonna go for a pressure treated.
Not necessarily. I think they suck personally.
Like West Newbury
But-
says,
I wouldn't want them in my backyard.
I
I'd take
know, but-
granite any
but-
day.
Most of the people, I just feel they're not gonna
I
pay
think our-
$400 when they can pay whatever the heck a 6x6 is. I don't know.
I think our default should be granite, and we're willing to consider requests
No.
for 6x6.
Here's the motion.
Okay, here's
I'm
your
not
motion.
taking any friendly amendments.
All
If
right,
you
good.
want to make an amendment, we'll have to vote on it. But
Okay.
I just want to vote either yes or no. Either we keep things the way they are with granite only, or we say that you can either be granite or 6x6 pressure treat. All right? That's the motion.
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Okay, so I'm motioning that our policy on markers is changed from granite markers to 6x6 pressure-treated markers, the same sizes as generally required in our policy.
In all cases?
Yeah. Or, it's just or. That's all we're adding, or pressure-treated, or 6x6 pressure-treated. That's only really thing we're adding to the policy. Okay, is there a second on that? We need to second it so we could take a
I'll
vote.
second
Well,
it.
we
I'll
actually
second
don't need
it.
to second it.
I got a
seconded.
second.
Okay.
All right, all right. Any further discussion? Bill, you heard us, right?
Oh, yeah, I've heard you.
Oh, gosh. All right, it's getting late. All in favor, say aye. Oh, no, we got to take a roll call, sorry. Terry,
No.
Tom,
No.
Stephanie,
I don't know. I don't know.
You can abstain.
I don't know. I don't know what the criteria are.
Yeah,
No,
if you
there
vote
is
no,
no
if you vote no, we
criteria.
can come up with a different
Criteria.
motion.
there is no criteria
If we
with
vote
this
no, we can
motion.
come up with a different motion.
No.
Mike, yes. Bill?
No.
Okay, all right, so that loses.
Yes, it does.
All right, so moving on then,
I would like to make a motion
hurry up.
that we be willing, what are you taking my job? That we be willing to consider on a case-by-case
that's
basis,
too
the
complicated.
substitution of 6x6 pressure-treated, 8-foot tall, 4-foot submerged, 4-foot above ground, as alternatives to granite.
Without criteria?
Willing to consider, that's all the criteria need.
So it would say pressure-treated
The default
six
is
by,
granite.
yeah, granite or pressure-treated 6x6 with commission approval.
Yes, which was my friendly amendment.
Second.
Okay,
Any other discussion?
do we understand what this is? This is the same motion, except we've added with commission approval.
Which is what I wanted to have a friendly amendment for, but
Yeah,
okay.
well, first I wanted to do the first
Okay.
one.
And it failed.
All right,
So I just want to be clear, so it's at the discretion of the board whether we vote
Commission.
commission?
well, it's not really just at our discretion. It depends on
approval.
what they ask about. We're not going to say, oh, do one or the other. We're going to just
Right,
say
exactly.
granite markers, and then
Granite
they're going to
markers.
come and say, wait a minute, can we do pressure treated?
And we'll say, tell us more.
Why?
tell
Why
us
should
more.
you do pressure
Exactly.
treated?
I think
Exactly,
we
that's
have
all
to
I
have
want.
criteria.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, but cost could be one of the criteria.
It could. We would take that in-
Availability of granite, maybe granite is hard to get, and they are under the
Swanson's will get
gun.
it to you next week.
No, but I'm just saying, you don't know what the future holds.
Okay.
All right, so that sounds good.
So I just want to be stupidly clear. They would have to ask us for the alternative.
Yes.
And then they'd have to make their case.
We won't
for
offer
why
it.
They would give it. Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
All right. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Abstain. I don't know.
Well, at least it wasn't a no.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay, so that wins 4-1.
4 to nothing.
Oh,
One
4 to
abstention.
0 to 1 abstention, sure. Sorry. Okay, now,
Whew, that was fun.
we're going back to 38 Benjamin Street. And there's a few issues here to discuss. The first issue is the
No.
invasives management plan, okay? So a little bit of history. The invasive management plan was not mentioned at all. We came up with it because we found invasives in the sedimentation pond after we had already issued the permits. We developed the management plan that lasts about 3 years. It's on the DeHulu's to take care of it. And they have started it. They started it last September with cutting. Basically, they cut in the spring, and then they apply glyphosate, yeah, whatever it is, Roundup alternative there in the fall. So that's they're cutting now in May and September, they'll spray some of the
The
stuff.
knotweed has done very well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I believe
Oh,
it.
my.
Doggone stuff is terrible. All right, so they are selling the house. The current owners do not want to take responsibility for the invasive management plan. So the DeHulus are agreeing to continue the invasive management plan on the sedimentation pond, reporting to us like they are supposed to do.
Good.
And they are willing to put $2,000 into an escrow account with us, with the town, not a legal escrow, just a set-aside fund, but basically an escrow account with the town in case that they default for whatever reason, didn't do the work or something else.
So they don't meet the order of conditions?
Yeah. No, again, this has nothing to do with the orders of condition.
Because it wasn't in the order.
Yeah, this is the invasive management plan. That's
So-
all.
Yeah, right, oh, sorry. So
Yeah.
refresh my memory, though, because I remember we had meetings talking about this. Out of the goodness of the heart, did they say they were gonna take care of this? I forget how we got there.
Say that again?
The invasive species.
Yeah.
What was the mechanism that they agreed to take care of it?
It's a memo of understanding
Understanding,
between
okay.
us that we signed off on in last August.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so, it's, it's not registered anywhere, nothing.
Well, I think
So-
my
so the-
question was gonna be, what's in it for them to continue, but you're saying they're gonna put up an escrow,
Yes,
so I
that's
think
why-
that's a reasonable amount of money to.
Right. So if they
Make it worth their while.
defaulted for some reason, we'd at least have some resources to hire somebody to do the work.
Right.
For a while.
Yeah,
And
well,
2,000 isn't going to last very long. Anyway,
Yes.
it's good of them to do that. It's the only way it's going to happen, right? They're going to sell the place. The new owner is not budging, then you got to do what you got to do.
Okay, yes. So we agree with that. We can take a vote at the end. We can include that in the final vote, but okay, so we agree with
That
that.
was preamble.
Yes, that's issue number one.
Can I have an aside question to that?
Yes.
And we may not know the answer, but what if the homeowner would say, I don't want anybody on my property who I don't say can come on my property, and that may include the DeHulu, whoever's responsible to take care of this. So what happens then?
No, I think the owners want them to do it, because if they don't do it, they're responsible for it.
Are they though?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because they own the property at that point, so, hey,
So we
you
would
know.
just go after them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but our memo of understanding is
way-
with the DeHulus, not the new owner.
What'd you say?
I said it's, our memo of understandings with the DeHulus, not
Yeah.
with the new owner or attached to the property, right?
No, the memo of understanding clearly says that if they sell the property, the new owner takes over the management plan. But again,
so
But they're saying no.
it's on a good faith basis, because,
can we get the owners, the new owners, to sign off and say the DeHulu is allowed to
Yeah,
to
yeah, I don't see
execute
why
their
not.
management plan? And we give them permission to, until they fulfill their obligations?
That's a good suggestion.
yeah, so the new owner will sign, I'll have DeHulu's, if we agree with this, have the DeHulu's put a letter together that the new owner signs off that, you know.
They can continue the management.
Sounds
or
good.
execution.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing is the certificate of compliance. So they filed for a certificate of compliance last fall. And we said, no, we're gonna hold off until the invasive stuff was taken care of. We have the invasive stuff taken care of, it's being dealt with. obviously, the new owners want a certificate of compliance.
Yep.
So, I think we should issue the certificate of compliance, write it up, sign it tonight, and have Annie issue it when they've taken care of the 2 outstanding issues. And that will be done ASAP.
What are the 2 outstanding issues?
The escrow?
No, the outstanding issues are they have to do some landscaping and they have to put the markers in.
And that's all laid out on the plan? That's part of the notice, or I'm sorry,
That's in the orders of
that's in the
condition.
orders of condition?
Yeah, right.
So they know where they gotta go, they just gotta do it?
Yes, and they're ready to do it,
Okay,
because the house is being sold as soon as this all gets
okay,
done.
so. they
And
should-
Annie, I think Annie wrote up the certificate of compliance, so we can sign it. All right,
So.
number 2.
Sorry to be such a pain. Are all the other orders of conditions that may require several growing seasons, is everything established or whatever else was?
Yeah.
Because we run into this all the time. We request or we demand a 2 growing
Yeah,
season.
but we don't do it.
We,
We
right.
sometimes do,
Is this the one that had the runoff then onto Washington Street over there?
yes.
Yes.
No, it's not.
No?
No,
That's Oakland Terrace, this is Benjamin
yeah,
Street.
no, this is not that.
Same neighborhood, I guess. different
Oh, it's Benjamin by Washington Park,
Benjamin's up the top of the hill,
top of the hill.
yeah.
It's at the bottom of the hill, right next to Johnson's Pond.
Yeah, but it's
You
on.
you gotta go on
It's the
Center
same
Street and go
neighborhood,
off
though.
of Center Street, right?
No, it's not the same.
Not
neighborhood.
really.
You go up
It's of
Pond Street
right?
Yeah.
and Bell Street. It's up in that little
Yeah.
camp
Okay, yep,
neighborhood.
Yep.
Yes, so we're not consistent. Why aren't we consistent? Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to hold up the sale of a property for 2 years while we wait till all the landscaping is well
So
established.
make an educated guess as to whether it's gonna stabilize.
Yeah, right.
Or not.
Right.
Right, and
And
I,
if there's erosion channels, we say, well, maybe you should fix those. If it's all green grass and looks pretty good, then we
Right.
say, okay.
Right.
right, so have we made that determination?
Well, no, because that's what Annie's gonna have to go, and she's
Okay.
not gonna release the certificate of compliance until she's happy that it looks pretty good.
Okay.
So we're gonna trust Annie.
Yes,
Can we
like
trust
we
you?
always do. We should trust
Took
Annie.
her too long to smile there.
She's going,
It's very late
I've
at
I've
night.
seen it in
Gonna
some
get
planning
over
board meetings.
Second meeting.
She says, I have an hour to drive home.
here's issue number 3. Issue number 3, the final issue on this whole thing is, if you recall what I said, the markers. The
Yeah.
markers, yes. They are requesting that we allow
Aha.
them to put in pressure-treated markers.
How many?
The order says 6, but I think it was an error. I
Think it's
really
too many?
don't think 6 are required there. I think maybe 3 at the most.
Do we have the plan?
It was not within your meeting materials. We do have it, but it's in the office.
What's your
Should we
opinion?
Should we
Well,
reconsider?
what's your, Annie, what do you think about the number of markers? I mean, when you think about what we just approved on Katy Lane, it's similar size lot. I can't see 6 markers. You know where that came from? That was a mistake from our former agent, and she copied the,
Oh, it's cut and paste error?
yes.
Okay.
And
Well,
it was from a place that we did put six markers
Yep,
there
yep,
at the
yep.
end of Maple Lane there.
Yep. So I think we say, good news, bad news. The good news, bad news is, we want granite. Good news is, we just want 3, and here's where we want them.
Okay.
And that's how I feel about that.
Yeah,
Second.
no, that makes
I would-
sense.
I don't know if
I
there's a
would-
motion there, but.
No, no.
I would agree with that.
I'll
Yeah.
put a motion together here
And
to,
Annie, can you dig up that?
You are a
plot
true
plan and
poker
we can- Oh,
player.
you're looking for it right now. If I stop talking, you'll probably find it faster.
I'm not going to Vegas with you.
Because we've had not requests for would, but we've had requests for modifications, and it always seems to be like 2 weeks before they want to close. And they've known about the markers, oftentimes it's for years if it's a larger development. So
Yeah.
I don't have the plan digitally. It's only paper.
Can you find them? I'll come by tomorrow and take a look.
That's fine.
And if you guys are happy with Annie and
I
I
trust you.
coming up with,
Yeah. It's not hard.
no, I don't think so.
No, it's basically a 100-foot buffered line that's right on there.
Right.
But not every 20 feet.
No. 3 is fine. One at the far and one
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the
if there's a
street, one in
compelling
the
reason
middle.
for 4, I'll send out an
Okay.
email, but it's 3,
Okay.
3 should delineate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right,
bad.
so I'm going to make a motion here that we approve the certificate of compliance for 38 Benjamin Street to be issued after remaining work on landscaping and markers are in place, that we change to require 3 markers rather than 6, and we approve the the continuation of the invasive mitigation plan by the DeHulus with a $2,000 escrow and letter from the new owner allowing the DeHulus to continue it.
Second.
Mike, did you say 3 granite?
Yeah, no, 3, because we didn't change anything. And you're
Okay,
saying 3 markers.
okay.
Can I make
Granite was silent.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with the 3 unless Annie and Terry find a compelling reason to possibly
Yeah,
make
but
4 or something like that.
I
I understand, I doubt it,
Right,
I'm just
no,
saying.
I like that amendment. I like that amendment,
Okay.
because I sort of said that already.
Right, I mean, I hate,
But I think the chances of that are pretty small, but let's just
Right.
have it there as a,
You
Get in
want to be
touch.
the one to call the DeHulus instead of me?
Well, so here's what drives me crazy with this stuff, if I can rant for a second. Whether it's 3 or 6 granite pressure treated, whatever the heck it is, this stuff always comes up last minute. And part of me wants to say, you know what? We should take a site walk, all of us, to take a look at it and deliberate and decide what we want to do. But obviously, that would take, when can we all get together? That's going to push things out further. I just, and I know you're the one who gets the calls all the time, and like, it's one of those, well, what are you supposed to do? You have somebody who's upset on the other end, but I just, I don't know what the exact timing is for Benjamin Street, but I want to say it's been years.
it's been a couple, maybe 3.
It's not like it's 6 months ago, they broke ground, they built the house, and now they're.
Right, they weren't driving along last week and said, let's put a house there.
Right, so I don't know,
Anyway, he's just ranting, so.
I'm just ranting. I mean, I think, we're forcing these positions to make a quick decision and make it feel like we're the ones at fault because we've asked for something. And I don't get it.
I never feel at fault. But
Well, I think Tom's point is, if they had an objection, it should have been made 2 years ago.
No, but
Or even 6 months ago, or
Or even
when they
6
were like,
months ago.
obviously they're gonna sell the house, okay, let's go through the checklist of what we still have to do. Oh, wait, hang on, let's talk to them about this, and we can have a
the
discussion.
driving thing almost always is
The
that.
sale.
The sale, yes.
Right, my issue is.
0 Center Street.
They
Classic.
know they were gonna sell the house, clearly. It
Right.
wasn't like some mitigating circumstances, something happened and plans went awry.
Death in the family, and they had to,
Yeah, they were gonna
raise
live there, but
money,
now
yeah.
they're gonna sell it, So I'm fine about talking about if people wanna ask for something different or we have things to discuss, but it's just, I don't know, I always get the feeling like,
well,
If
I think
we don't
Annie's
agree to everything
done a
you're saying,
good job recently, making sure that our notices, they're going through and seeing which ones the certificate of compliance hasn't been settled yet.
Right.
And, but again, that's us, and particularly her being proactive and going after, saying, okay, let's finish this off. And yes, it's unfortunate that everybody doesn't think about Conservation Commission first of all things, but there we are. Anyway, friendly
Actually-
amendment, do we need to, is that accepted?
No,
as
yeah,
friendly?
I accept that.
Okay,
So, yeah, Tom, it's not as bad as you think.
it's been worse, I think is what you're saying.
No, I don't think, I think since we've had Annie, the things have gotten a lot better.
There's definitely been a
And then
lot
some.
fewer emergency driving to everybody's house to get things signed because the closing is tomorrow at 2 PM kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyway, let's, shall we vote?
All right, so you know what we're voting on, right?
I think so.
Yes.
You know what we're voting on, right, Bill?
Yep.
Okay. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All right. A few other things. Meeting minutes.
Move to approve the meeting minutes from April 12th, 2023 as is.
Second.
No corrections this time, Annie. Of course, I was recused from half of it, so.
Okay. We'll take a vote. Terry,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Mike, yes, Bill?
Aye.
Okay. Next is an update from our,
Are you skipping correspondence?
Oh, yeah, because look at this
Oh,
really
there-
interesting
is
letter
there
right here.
There's so many
Correspondence?
interesting letters
oh,
here.
oh,
What's going on at 895 Salem?
Yeah, what
Street?
is that?
That's got nothing to do with us, does it?
Can I ask a loaded question? But maybe I don't want to ask a
Wait,
loaded
where did it
question.
go?
Remember, you're being filmed.
No, I just, well, okay, I'll let Mike, I'll keep my mouth shut for now.
So, correspondence. Where do we begin?
we don't need to talk about it necessarily.
Just need to be aware of it.
Yeah,
That's all, it's
Yeah.
just mail that is very directly to the Conservation Commission. Sorry, this wasn't on. It's just correspondence that was very direct to the Conservation Commission and not necessarily like a question that me as the agent, I can answer.
Yeah.
That's all. It's just, it's
Somebody go on it.
correspondence the commission needs to know about,
which one?
basically.
It says we're not
So-
allowed to go. Did somebody go
Oh,
on to
This
that-
person wanted to remain anonymous. Were you able to respond in any way?
I took a
So-
look and they're over 400 feet away from the river. So they're not within a jurisdictional buffer zone.
River.
Oh,
You
so
mean
maybe-
the stream or?
No, the Merrimack River.
So this
Are they
person,
talking about the Merrimack River or are they talking about the
At the
little
river,
stream?
at the River Pines.
Okay, all right.
Here's some advice to those watching in the public sector here. If you're gonna write us a letter, please do not send it anonymous because we don't need to, we should normally take it and tear it up and throw it away because it's useless. We can't deal with anonymous complaints. If you have a complaint, feel that you would like to stay as quiet about it. We do not tell anyone about who made a complaint. So there's no need to worry that you'll be ratted out to your neighbors.
I just
Feel
want
free to
to
send us a letter and sign it.
I will say though, if it comes to me in my office, everything that comes to me in my office is public record.
Yes, but we don't have to do anything about it. Now, if somebody doesn't, if they're not willing to sign it, we can't even call them up and ask them questions. What did you mean by this? Like in this case, right?
Or explain the situation
Yeah, you
as
know.
to why it's not a
Right.
violation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's far preferable that people don't give us anonymous stuff. And the other letter,
895
there's
Salem?
a long story behind this one, and it's getting late, but basically...
Well, does it involve the commission?
Well, it does, because we were ordered to stay away from this property.
Right, but were we the ones that were
Did we enter
on
the
the
property?
property? Did we have
Yeah.
anything to do with
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
We did, okay.
yeah. But we didn't intentionally trespass.
Okay, all right. So it's a legitimate complaint by them.
Yeah, it's not really a complaint, it's notice that
Well,
they
okay.
don't want us on the property without notifying them.
Got it. I will stay away from that.
Okay,
Now that I know about it.
okay. Sorry, Annie, go ahead.
Whose trail log thing is this?
That has nothing to do with me. I don't know. That was something Mike submitted.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have anything to update us on?
Do you want to talk about the trail log or?
No, I just.
No, I'm gonna talk about that and one other thing.
Last week, there was a site visit with myself, representatives from West Newbury, including the town manager and their conservation agent, the school principal, I think of the high school, Justin Seymour, WT Rich United Civil, and DEP with Libby Sabujin at the high school, because issues there have gotten to that point. The site visit was 3 hours long. We took a look at everything, not just the West Newbury side, Groveland side as well. The contractors have addressed a lot of the changes that were discussed at that site visit. Specifically on the Groveland side, they have constructed a temporary retention basin for anything that could be running off of the football field. And they've also done some temporary paving over an open cut that was in the road. Those are what those photos were. They've been actively taking steps that the state has recommended as far as corrective actions. And the state, from their communications, have been encouraged by the direction that they're heading in. I had a meeting last week with the Greville Municipal Light Department and our town administrator at the lot adjacent to SD Park. The light department, again, is happy to take control of the property once everything has been sorted out with us. Obviously, the town would like a portion of it to be able to be used for kind of a pull-off for the community trail. Mr. Harper had said that he was hoping to be able to pull trees from other portions of the parcel to place within the cleared lot area. Told him that that is probably not how this was going to work, but I was still waiting on the remediation plan from the commission. We have a lot of stuff coming our way right now. Our June meeting is already looking pretty full. I highly recommend that the commission seriously consider doing twice monthly meetings. We're getting to the point where we're potentially getting into violations as far as when we have to hear things. For example, requests for determinations of applicability, we only have 21 days to make a determination for that. And we often really cut it close with those.
That's from time of submission or from time of?
Time of submission. And it's the same with notices of intent. And especially during these busy seasons, I mean, we get a lot all the time. So just something to consider. And it also will cut down on the length of the meetings if we're able to spread it out between two, rather than just piling it all into one meeting. Just something to consider. That's all I got.
How about every 3 weeks? No, seriously. For the 21 days, how about every 3 weeks?
I mean, I have a nursing schedule, so I have to know if you guys are planning something.
Well, for example, the planning board meets the first Tuesday and third Tuesday of the month as needed. If we don't, if the planning board doesn't have anything new for 3 months, they don't meet. So if during our busier springtime, if we want to say we do the second and fourth Wednesday of the month or something like that. Again, it's just a suggestion. It's the commission's decision when it comes down to it, but just based on the volume of applications I have been receiving, we're looking at another 3-hour meeting next month.
Okay.
Just something to consider.
I'd be fine with doing it every week just to get through a little hump if needed. Or
Well,
But you gotta post meetings and stuff, so it's
Yeah.
not.
No, I know, there's legal requirements to do it quicker, I'm just saying, yeah,
Annie-
let's just get it over with.
why don't you put on the agenda next time, we'll take a vote on going to meeting twice monthly on a as-needed basis, like you say, so we'll have time to think about it, then we'll take a vote on it.
Do you think we have enough now that it would warrant doing a meeting in 2 weeks from now?
Sometimes.
We do, but because we don't meet twice monthly for the applications that have already come in, I can't have them notice in the paper. The time crunch would be, at this point, too severe.
For them to get the paper notice is the issue.
Probably, yeah. I could look to see what each filing that I have coming in would require to see, but I also have been advising people that we're not meeting again until June 14th,
Right.
so that they know when they have to get things in by.
Yeah, so I guess if we decide on June 14th, yes, we want to do it every 2 weeks, then wouldn't it, by default, we would have missed the June 28th already?
Most likely, unless it was for a simple RDA filing or something of that nature.
So are there non-newspaper required meetings that we could have 2 weeks from now, just to get some stuff off the table? Doesn't make a difference, or does it not?
Nothing
really
that I
make a
have an
difference?
application in hand for right now, but again, I haven't been advising people to get them to me for earlier because,
I think that we need to think about it a little more, look at our own personal schedules for the second and fourth Wednesdays and see, make sure that there's no absolute conflicts on the fourth Wednesdays. And that could be our optional night that, it would give us a little more flexibility because maybe we have a conflict on the second Wednesday and we could just meet on the fourth Wednesday.
another issue that we run into is that I am, for the RDAs that I posted a couple weeks ago, at Town Hall, I only received until tonight one signature.
Yeah, that's the other issue.
Yeah,
From us?
yep.
Now, I was on there, and Stephanie was on there.
You were you were away on
Yeah.
vacation, so you couldn't have done it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
had only received Stephanie's until today.
Yeah, yeah.
Or whenever you were, Monday
Did
or
you,
whenever.
did you send out an email telling people to sign it?
Yep.
Okay, so we need to do that more, but that would
But if
help.
we're having every other week or
Yes.
second and fourth week meetings,
Yes,
if people aren't able to get here during the day to sign things, then we'll have to do those second meetings.
oh, yes, yes. Make sure we sign that certificate of compliance
Yep,
tonight.
and I have the two RDAs are determinations of applicability that need to be signed as well.
Okay, so we got 3 documents to sign. 4 documents, sorry.
There's a local and state certificate of compliance for 38 Benjamin Street.
Okay, thank you.
Here, I'll sign.
What
that.
happens if we have a meeting scheduled, but we don't have a quorum and it gets postponed?
That happened.
It
Right,
would-
I'm just thinking like the RDAs, you say we have 21 days, does it automatically become a negative determination? Or
From my understanding, and this is me pulling part of my planning experience, I would have to look into the regulations, of the state regulations, but the way it works for planning is that it gets constructively approved. If we do not act within the time that we are allowed to act in, it just gets constructively approved.
So is there a way to legally say, can you have sort of an emergency quorum where, well, we can only get these 2 people, they're going to sign off on it?
Not for a determination of applicability or a notice of intent. You can't do that. You need a quorum of the board to sign. And even to meet, it has to be at a public meeting. So RDAs don't have to be public hearings. they're just public meetings. Notices of intent have to be a public hearing.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, we could say right now, well, we're gonna do it every 2 weeks, but if we can't get people here to be here consistently, then it's a moot point.
I mean, I'm
anyways,
for
right?
sure gonna be in Colorado that 4th.
Well, no, we're not gonna do it
In June.
the May. It'll be,
That's just a for instance.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
we may
just-
not need it, so that's
And
the
again, I
thing.
mean, after June, we might calm down again, but it's also to prevent these
Backlog.
3-hour meetings when
Yep.
we can just do it every other week and have them be like an hour.
Yes, you can sign them, because I signed one
Well, but
that
you
I
were,
had.
but you had just voted no. You weren't recused from the entire
Oh,
hearing.
okay.
So can
So we
I,
might need, is that 106?
106, yeah.
You were recused on the entire matter. I think we'll need Bill to come in and Fred.
So
Same thing.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna sign it. So what happens there? Say Fred and Bill were on vacation and wouldn't be around for 3 weeks. I'm just curious, because I have absolutely.
together?
No, I'm just saying.
Can we do electronic signatures?
No. No, the DEP, we had an agent's corner a couple months ago and they still require wet signatures.
Okay.
All right, moving on, just 2 more things that I've got. The first is
Yeah.
a report, I think it's in your packet. Says the Groveland Trails Activity Log. This is a, I thought there were 3 pages, but maybe not. So anyway, this is a report from Jim Lafferty. Terry, you remember Jim. Tom, you remember Jim.
Oh, thank you.
Jim Lafferty.
I'm trying to rack my brain.
Anyway, he's our new trail administrator. And he started on April 21st, and already you can see all the work that he's done. And I'm meeting with him next week. Right now, we're concentrating on Meadow Pond mostly, but he's also started Veazey. But Meadow Pond needs some signage improvements, needs some intersection markers, and some bridge repairs, basically replacing just some broken wood on some of the bridges there. So, so I thought it was great.
Yeah, this is
you know?
fantastic.
And so what we might do is, if he's going to have a day where he's going to do some repair that will require more than one person to do, I'll throw it out there and see if he wants to do it like on a Saturday or something, and whoever wants to come can come and help out. But so far, I'm very happy. And he's going to start looking at Town Forest next, and then finally Center Street Greenway.
So,
Yes.
Mike, I'm going to be with the 4th graders at Meadow Pond this Friday.
Oh, okay, what are they doing? Just
They've got a naturalist. They're really just going to,
visit?
yeah.
Yeah, so it should be in really good shape, based on the work that was done on April 21st. The Chesterton people were there. They cut some of the trees. We raked some of the trails. We replaced some of the signage. And Jim, I believe, has cut away most of the other stuff that was blocking some of the trails. So it's actually in very good shape.
Good.
And the last thing I've got is the turtle mitigation area at 150 Center Street is coming along. So far, this past month, the 6 turtle mounds were built by Bill Daly, volunteered to do that. Bill Daly pulled all his equipment out of there, and he's done working over there on the water and sewer line that cut through it. And this past week, the water department worked with the biologist and landscaping company to move some vegetation into the 8-acre parcel from outside of that. And so that's done. And the last thing to do over there is a border wall along the 8-acre parcel, the western side, so you can't drive into it anymore. And the water department's going to do that within the next week or so.
What kind of vegetation did they move in there? What does that mean?
It's the, whatever that stuff is.
Garlic mustard,
No,
Norway
no,
maple.
it's,
Knotweed?
no. There's no knotweed over there. What's that stuff called?
Might be
You-
some
Little
binder
blue
weed.
stem?
Might be
Yes,
some binder
yes.
weed
The
also.
Okay.
little blue stem, that
Okay.
there's a ton of
The
it
grass, it's beautiful.
outside of the 8 acres, and they picked some of it up and spread it around.
In
I've
the
got a
hopes that a
picture
wood
here
turtle will
somewhere.
fall in love.
Yeah, well,
Build a house.
they're preparing the wood turtle habitat there.
Okay.
So it's coming along very good, so I'm very happy with that. And that has to be maintained permanently.
Okay. I have a thing to say. Are we
Sure.
done with all the other things?
Yeah.
So we still have a vacancy on our commission. So I had reached out to somebody who might be familiar with people in town, Dr. Bartholomew, and he gave me a list of names to reach out to with email addresses. So I was going to see if it's okay with you guys if I formulate just a small introductory letter and ask them if anybody is interested in joining the Conservation Commission. What do you think?
Sure.
And then if
You don't have to
so,
vet it with us, I don't think.
We're
If-
down
I
one,
mean,
right?
people.
we're down one.
Right.
It's 4 people, just 4 people. And if they are interested, do I ask for a resume and their something?
They should talk to the selectmen about being appointed.
No, all they have to,
No.
yeah, they only have to write a letter requesting to be appointed.
Okay,
So what do the selectmen do if they get 4 letters?
Well, they should interview them and choose the best candidate.
Okay, I didn't know what because normally, like, we can never find people for
The
anything,
odds
so.
of that happening, by the way.
well, what if they have questions and they want to come to a meeting or something? Like
Yeah.
I tried to rope somebody into attending a meeting one time.
Yeah,
How'd that work?
they should come to
They
a
no-showed.
meeting. They should come to a meeting.
Well, but maybe not the June 14th extravaganza.
Did you see
But tonight-
all the positions on the ballot that didn't have anybody at all?
Yes, I know, and we actually got a list of, yeah. I think
Yeah.
we should do better for the next.
I have I'm expecting somebody to be wanting to join the board.
Oh, okay. So not one of these 4 people then? Do you want me to wait until that?
No, because it may or may not happen. He
Okay.
said he's going to, but I don't know.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So I just want to remind everyone, our next meeting will be June 14th, 7 PM here in Town Hall.
There's a giant nursing appreciation dinner at the aquarium that night. What do I do?
Need a second on the motion to
There was a
adjourn.
second.
I seconded.
Yes, so we can take we have to take roll call here. Terry?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Mike, yes. Bill?
Aye.
Okay, adjourned at
All right.
9.
41.